Hello everyone, today we're going to be reviewing the parts of a map. So when you're looking at a map, one of the first things you want to look at is what is the name or the title of the map. Just like a story has a title, maps usually have a title too. Most of the time it's written at the top somewhere. It could be in any corner, any place on the map, but it's usually the letters are a little bigger than the other things on the map. So we're going to call this the map of Cremis. Okay, so what's Cremis? I don't know. It's just a place I'm making up. So there's my title. A lot of times it'll be in a box, but not always. The map of Cremis. That's my title. It tells me what this map's going to be about. It's going to be about this place called Cremis. Okay, so the next thing we might look for would be the compass rose. And remember, the compass rose is going to kind of look like a plus sign on most maps, but sometimes it'll only be one arrow. And so here's my compass rose. I'm going to draw it right over here. So sometimes you're just going to see this, like an arrow pointing up, and it's going to have an N next to it. And that's all that's going to be on the map. That's your compass rose. It doesn't look like one, but they think and they figure that if you know that north is this way, then what's down here at the bottom? South, right? Okay. And then if you know north and south, if you remember this saying, never eat soggy waffles, never, then over here is eat. And what direction starts with E? Well, that would be east. And they figure, the people that make the map, figure you know where east is. And if you know that these three are never eat soggy, over here would be waffles. And so they figure that you'll be able to reason where those are located. They don't have to tell you because you know enough about maps to figure it out. These are called your cardinal directions. The cardinal directions. Now your cardinal directions there's only 4 of them: north, east, south, west. The other directions that are in between are called the intermediate directions. This would be northeast, southeast, southwest, and then northwest. Those are your intermediate directions. And remember, this is called a compass rose, and we use it to figure out where something is on the map and what direction you're going to go to find it. All righty. The next thing we need to know would be the key. Now, the key on our map, most of the time, is at the bottom of the page or the bottom of the map. So I'm going to put mine over here at the bottom of the map. Scoot it up a little bit so you can see it. And here's my key. A lot of times it'll even say key. Sometimes it won't say key. Sometimes they'll use the word legend. But whether they call it a key or a legend, it's the same thing. And we look down here to find what the symbols on the map mean or what the pictures mean. I have on my map right now, even though you can't see it, let me scoot over a little bit, a dot and a star. Well, I'm going to say this dot is a town, and the star is a capital city. And so now when I'm looking on the map, if I see a dot or a star, I can come down here and see what it is. This is called the key or the legend. It just tells us what the symbols or the pictures mean. It's an important part of the map, though. The next part of the map would be the grid. So here's my map. I'm going to go ahead and label it. Let's see. I'm going to draw a line over here and a line coming down. And then I'm going to have line going across. And then I'm going to have some dotted lines in here. Most of the time on a regular map, the grid lines will be a different color, or they won't be as dark or something. They'll be different so that you won't get them confused with borders or and things like that on the map. So here we go. I've got, we'll call this A, B, C, and D. Now we're going to do the same thing going down. I'm making a grid. You see that? I'm making boxes. Kind of like I'm setting up an array. Now, once I've got that, I've got my A, B, C, D going across the top. I'm sorry, down the side, and going across the top, I'm going to number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my map grid. There it is. And my map grid helps me find things quickly on the map. If I want to find something that's in B2 square, say we've got this dot here, and we're going to call it, let's see, I would just call it Cremis. There's the town of Cremis right there. The town of Cremis is in B2. And so if I'm looking at my map and I want to find Cremis quickly, and I see in the index on the map on the back where it tells me, you know, where to find Cremis, B2, I just come over here and find square B2, and there's Cremis. Over here, let's have another dot, and then a dot down here, and then a star up here. And we'll call this Dorta. We'll call this one Lemmis. And this one over here, we'll call this capital up here Elka. All right, so there we go. And you see, I now have a grid that I can find them. For example, what grid square is the capital city of Elka in? Do you know? Well, it's right here. So I want to know my letter first, A, and then I come over here, and what column is it in? 4. So it's A4. And that's how you use the grid. The next part of the map that we need to talk about is the scale. Now, the scale is important because it tells us how far things are from each other. Now, we can't really draw maps that are a mile long because that would just be too big to use, and we wouldn't be able to actually fit that in the room because I don't know about you, but my room's not a mile wide. So we have to use a scale. And from here to here, we're going to say is 5 miles. Now, if I want to know how far it is between, say, Cremis and Lemmis, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, hey, look, that's 1 inch. From here to here is 1 inch. So for every inch, it's 5. And I'll count by 5 for each inch. So I put my ruler here, and I see that from Lemmis to Cremis is about 3 inches. It's not quite 3 inches. It's about, so I'm estimating here. So if I was going to get my closest estimate to my scale of miles here, I would say 1 inch is 5, another inch is 10, and then almost another 5 miles. So I'll say it's about 15 miles because 3 times 5 is 15. Now, if you don't have a ruler, you can always use like an index card to do the same thing. We just see that, okay, from here to here is going to be from the corner of my index card right here. I put it at the edge, right at the beginning. And then I'm going to put it up there. Now, how do I use an index card with no lines on it, Mr. T? Well, I take the corner and I put it on Cremis, and then I come over here to where Dorta is. And so I want to know what the distance between Cremis and Dorta is, and then I put a little line on my index card right there. See that line? Now I come down here to my map scale, and I start at the corner, and I say, okay, from here to here, 5 miles. I move it over now to where my new line is, and I go ahead and I measure again. From here to here is another 5 miles. So that was 5 and 5 more. And then from here to here is not quite 5 miles. You see that? It's a little short. So it's just under 5 miles. I'd say that's about 4 miles because it's just a little less than 5. See, 5 would be right here where my finger is. It's just a little space here. Let me show you. See? Between this line and that longer line, it's just a little bit. So it's just a little under that. So I'd say that's about 4 miles, and that would be one more there. So 4 plus 1 would be my 5. I'd say it's about 15 miles, and if I want to be exact, I'd probably say it's 5, 10, 14. I wouldn't count that one. That's how you use an index card or a side of a piece of paper to figure out your distance. And that's called the scale, and it helps us figure out how far something is on the map. Well, I hope this video helps you out, and I will talk to you later.